Inches, yards, and miles. Welcome back to Sound of Siren. I'm Xavier.
I'm Dylan. Welcome back to another episode of the Supercoach series, and we're back this week. Das, are you feeling better?
Ripping week. I actually beat you in score, Dylan. So
Yeah.
there you go. After 10 long weeks of copping it for my poor scoring and you being better than me or whatever, I've overtaken you this week, so it's nice.
I wouldn't say I've ridiculed you that much though.
Well,
You
maybe
did
just a
ridicule me,
little.
but I was constantly reminded of how well my team was going.
Well, that's the thing. I'm scared because now in the bias, this is where the inexperience comes to haunt me, and I know your team will be pretty solid. So I had to rub it in for the first 10, and then the next 10 are all yours.
Yeah, I'm hoping that you are right there.
All right. So before we get into things, to us, I just want to say, or we should say, that our beanies, or your beanies, sorry, your beanie company, and they've finally shipped out. And if you follow at Footy Beanies, there'll be a link in the description to go pre-order your BWS beanie. I think that's the first drop, and then in the coming weeks, there's some more. So be sure to go get your beanie now. I know I love beanies. I'm wearing my Saints one right now. Das, this is an unusual occurrence for you to not be wearing a beanie, but I'm sure when the BWS ones come in, then you'll be all over them.
Yeah, every episode I'll be wearing at least one. So look forward to seeing the
At least one.
beanies on show. At least one, like I might switch them between
Come in
segments.
wearing, come in wearing three, I reckon.
Yeah, my
So we'll get straight into it. What was your round score, Darcy? We'll start with you since you did far better than Dylan.
so pretty happy, pretty happy. We had a round score of 2,156. It's nothing compared to you, Xavier,
Oh no,
but it's a good start.
And you,
I
Dylan?
had I had a mare. I scored 2058, I think. So yeah,
I did not have a mare. It was easily my best week of the year. I scored 2,413, which was 422nd ranked. So I'm really happy with that, and hopefully I can continue that form in the coming weeks.
that's the best performance all year by any of us three. So well done, Save. Well done.
Thank you. We'll jump into the heroes and villains. I think we can start with you, Dylan. I think you should have lots of villains this week.
Yeah, my villains would be. Sorry, I'm just going through the team now. Caleb Daniel, he scored 61, which was a little annoying. But the villain for everyone was Brody Grundy. He was on 76 or 72 a quarter into the third quarter, and then unfortunately pinched a nerve in his neck. So he could have easily finished with 120 plus, and then if he did, I would be up in the 2-2 category. So that's what affected most people's scores this week. Tom Mitchell had 88, Sam Walsh had 90 after a blistering start, and Andrew Brayshaw had 81. But CJ as well, 66, which is very annoying. As for heroes, Jake
Oh.
Lloyd, Clayton Oliver, Bond, and Jack Steele all played well.
Uh, we'll go into yours, Darcy. Who are your heroes and villains?
Similar to Dylan, my villain was obviously Grundy. I didn't. My villain in a way was Bontempelli. My rule is generally for the loophole 130. So if he had scored just even 5 more, I would have loopholed him, and then I wouldn't have to worry about Grundy. But yeah, Grundy's injury wasn't handy for me. Mitchell, Fife underperforming,
Yeah.
and Ridley's role. I'm not enjoying that.
Yeah.
That's certainly villainous for me. But as for my heroes, some of my not less owned, but less rated premiums scoring well. Or if you want to count Isaac Heaney as one of them. So Heaney 128, Zorko 162, Cripps 133, and I guess you can extend that to Lloyd 142, who all scored very nicely for me this week, and I think that was really where the difference was.
So I will go to mine now. My villains, Sam Doherty, his worst game of the year with only 67. Jordan Ridley as well, only 64. And then Grundy 76 as well. But luckily I did the opposite of you, Darcy, and I managed to convince myself to put the captaincy on Bontempelli after vice-captaining him. But I've got lots of heroes this week, which is why I think I performed pretty well. Lloyd, 142, he was absolutely massive, so he's got to be a hero. Clayton Oliver, 139. Bontempelli, 125. McRae, 145. Dane Zorko, 162 was massive. And then probably the three biggest ones outside of Zorko, Cripps, easily his best game of the year, 133 was massive. Most people don't have him anymore. Jack Steele, I traded him in this week and he got 154. So he was really good. And then the other one, as Darcy said, really, really cheap forward. And I thought he was a chance to be top 6 and he certainly played like it this week, 128 for Isaac Heaney. So they're my heroes this week.
Very well done, Save.
All right, boys. What trades did you do this week, and did they work out for you? Starting with you, Xavier.
So I only did the one trade this week, and as of right now, it's worked out really, really well for me. So I did Scott straight to Steele. So that netted me 154 points. At the moment, it's been very, very, very helpful.
I just did a double downgrade. I traded out Scott as well and Warner to Waitman and Madden. So boring week for me trade-wise, but just to generate some cash.
Yeah, I'm similar there. I just did the one downgrade. I went Bergman down to Waitman. Didn't work out as well as I'd hope. Obviously, Bergman's cash gen stopped now with that 14 points just as a sub, but Waitman only scoring 53. So I'm thinking it looks like I'll be trading him out around 14 or 15 as a bit of a cash grab, just a quick 150k.
And it was actually funny because Bergman got subbed on and then a minute later he kicked a goal. I'm not sure if you saw that at Das, but that was pretty funny. And I think that was his only touch of the game.
Yeah, it might have been.
So onto the buy-sell holds. And we have a mixture of players, some rookies, some mid-price players. And the first one we'll get into is Trent Bianco, who's only played one game, but could be an exception to your rule, Das.
Oh, I think it's just a general rule of Supercoach, not just mine. I reckon Xavier did by the rule as well. But I do agree, he could be an exception. It works out really well to get him in this week. And as a defensive midfield, there's plenty of downgrade options that just work this week. And obviously, if you include moving forwards into the midfield as well, you can pretty much just downgrade anyone to him, and a really good score to start with. And I think he's got pretty solid job security. So he could be really handy to get in this week, an exception for sure.
And a score of 82 in his first game, or 83, should I say?
I think for me, it depends on how you're positioned going into the buys. For me, I'm going to hold off on him mainly because this week I've got about 25 players playing, so he's not going to be that helpful for me this week, but maybe next week he can help out a little bit more, moreover when he doesn't have his buy.
Now, this one's a little personal. CJ.
It's tough. Again, if you've got lots and lots of trades, I would trade him out. If you don't, then I'd probably leave him and try and use him as my last upgrade to try and get to one of the better defense, one of the top 6 defenders. But I think it's a hold for now.
Yeah, we had this discussion. I think you'd rather CJ as your 22nd best player in your D6 than Cozzy or Heimer or something like that. So I think you hold on to him at this point in time. Obviously, if you've only got 3 or 4 upgrades to go and you've got 12 trades, then it's fine. But yeah, I don't really see it being worth it at the moment. You're only really gaining about 30, 40 points per week anyways.
Yeah, there is someone who I said to Zave off camera in a few weeks who I think is a bit of a dark horse, and I'll explain that to you in a couple of weeks when we get to it, if he's still playing well. The next one, Paddy Cripps.
I think at the moment it's a hold. Given that there's a lot of midfielders that have been scoring really, really well all year. But if he scores, I want to say 2 more scores above 120 in a row, then I think we've got to really start to look at him again as a genuine option. I'm not sure if it's going to happen yet. He's only averaging 89.5 for the year, but one big score, and hopefully he can repay the people that held him all this time.
Yeah, I'm going to struggle to recommend him to anyone considering the pain he's put me through this season. So I don't think he's I still don't think he's a good option to buy purely because he had such an amazing game just for 133. I was saying to Xavier, I reckon that McRae, Bont, or Oliver or someone like that plays that game, they'd be getting 150 plus with that type of disposals and the goals as well. So for that reason, I wouldn't be going onto him.
Yeah, now this one's probably a few weeks early, but Matty Rowell is 495,000. Let's say in a few weeks that his break even is 199. So let's say he still scores 100 plus and he goes down 30, 40k. Would you invest?
Is it confirmed that he's playing this week?
No, in 2 or 3 weeks. I've jumped the gun a little early, but he's just on my mind.
Not this year. No, you're paying pretty much a full premium price for a player who's played 6 games. Keen on him at the start of the season, but at this point in time, there's not enough room for risks like him, and I don't think it'd even be that worth it anyways.
Okay.
I think as of right now, I wouldn't do it. But come round 23, if you've got like one trade left and you don't have enough money to get to someone of the upper echelon, then maybe he's an option. But at the moment, I definitely wouldn't get him.
Now, there's a lot of consensus about this man after this week. Brodie Grundy.
I'll let you start, Darcy. I think I might have a different opinion.
It's a pretty easy wait for me. So this week, round 12 is this week. And as me and Xavier, probably you two, Dylan, are experiencing, we have about 23 players that are playing this week, not having their buys. So it's not much of a stress this week to have Grundy out. And then next week, I still think I can side a full team, considering I'll have Flynn, or I can downgrade to Reeves. So Grundy won't be an issue there. Round 14, he wasn't playing anyways. And then round 15, he's actually in the side. We should be back in the side. So really, you only missed 2 games of his, and there's coverage for both. So I'm not stressed about him at all.
It's different for us, though, Zay.
Yeah, so the two of us are in a little bit of a different position, given that we have Paul Hunter and we started him at our R3, which in hindsight was definitely not a good choice. We don't have the option of downgrading to Reeves and then just having him on field for a couple of weeks, or even keeping Flynn and having him on field for a couple of weeks. So at the moment, I'm thinking I might get rid of him purely because over the next, if I don't get rid of him in rounds, 13 and 14, I think. Yeah, rounds 13 and 14, the second and third bye rounds. I don't think I'm going to have enough people to field a full team, and having 627k sitting there when I could have someone like Nat Newey or even Todd Goldstein scoring me 90 to 120 points every week. I think that could be very hurtful, in particular for overall rank. But if you're going for league, then I'd probably hold.
How many trades do you have, just out of interest, Dave, before the ones you've submitted this week?
I have 13 trades before this week.
Yeah. So I've got one less than you at the start of the week, and I'm thinking
Grundy was the highest scoring player besides Clayton Oliver as of last week. And having that score of 76 and Nick Nat doubling his score this week in, you could say, a fluke. I was watching Nick Nat. He looked very average in the fourth quarter. He could barely run. So that concerned me. And so despite Nick Nat doubling his score this week, Brodie Grundy still averages 10 more than him. So Brodie Grundy is by far in the top 2 comfortably over Nick Nat, who's only 40k cheaper than him. So it's not like it's a downgrade that'll enable plenty of other upgrades. I just don't see it being worth moving to Nick Nat in any sense. That's a waste of a trade for 40k maybe.
I could go, not saying this is what I am going to do, but I could go to someone like Todd Goldstein, who's only averaging 90, in the hope that he plays better later on in the year, which would make me over 100k and allow me to upgrade another player, which is going to score me like 300 points over the next 3 weeks. So it's still up in the air. I might end up holding him, but I think it's really tough at the moment.
If you were to do a 40k downgrade, I would rather you do Hunter to Reeves than do Grundy to Nick Nat or Goldie.
Yeah,
Really, because then Reeves, as of round 17, when you get into your last upgrade, downgrade, he could be really good cash for you there.
That's only 9k that I would make from that trade, though, given that Paul Hunter's only 134. So.
Oh, really? I thought he was like 160.
No, I wish he was. It would be so much easier if he was 160, even more. Then I could bank the 40k, have the player on field, and use the money elsewhere. But the only 9k, 10k that I'm making for it, I'm not sure that it's something worthwhile.
I will say it is very funny seeing Dast back up the ruckman after at the start of the year being heavily against them. It is funny, a switch of moods. But we'll quickly move on to the next man, Ned Reeves, who you touched on, Dast.
Not this week. Just wait for next week to get him in. He's a good downgrade option from Flynn. Hopefully he'll hold his spot and he'll provide good coverage round 13 and 14 because he's got the convenient round 12 bye.
For Zave and I, do we do Hunter to Reeves this week or next week?
Next week.
Yeah, definitely don't do it this week, given that he has the bye. But
yeah, of course. Sorry.
If you've got Hunter, I'm not sure that the trade's worthwhile. But if you have Flynn, then I would definitely do that trade next week. The Flynn to Reeves, it's going to make you like 200k, and you can use that elsewhere, and you still have the player playing. So it's definitely a trade I would do next week.
Yep. Ollie Wines, he has the bye this week, but after the next week, he's produced 3 very solid scores in a row.
I would hold just because of the all of the upper echelon midfielders that there are elsewhere, but not the worst option.
When have you added that to your vocabulary, Zave? You've used that about 4 or 5 times this episode so far.
Which one?
Quartile, upper quartile.
Echelon, whatever it is.
Echelon.
Yeah, Wines isn't cheap enough to be worth going him over, say, Steele or Parrish or someone like that.
Yeah, I was going to say Parrish.
And then he's also 2% ownership. That's a good point of difference, but yeah, I'm not too keen on that.
Someone else who I was going to say, but you've already said it, Darcy Parrish.
I think it's the same as Wines for me. I'd rather Walsh, Theo, Lyons, Bontempelli, Oliver, etc. So again, not the worst option, but I probably wouldn't do it myself.
Yeah, he's just slightly too expensive at the moment. I'd say Steele should be the primary midfield option this week, considering his price and the upcoming price increase from his last score. So,
all right, the final one of the week. Final one of the week, Callum Coleman-Jones.
I think it's a similar position to Bianco. If you don't have 18 players, then he might be someone that you look at, given that he just scored 100. And I think his job security, honestly, isn't the worst. I spoke to a Richmond fan about it, and he reckons there's no way they drop him before they drop Mabia Chol. So he's looking pretty good in their team, especially after kicking 4. So if you only have 17 players, then I'd probably do that one. And honestly, I might even do that one before I did the trade to Bianco. But yeah, if you've got more than 17 players this week, then I would hold off until the last round, where he'd be on the bubble and his buy will be finished as well.
See, this is really similar to Thilthorpe. He's a ruck forward, he's slightly elevated price, but his score of 112 came on the back of 4 goals. So that means we're looking at only really 40, 50 maybe if he doesn't score those goals, which he won't every week. So that's not really a positive score that would make me want to get him in urgently.
All right, that's it for another rendition of the Buy, Sell, Hold. And next week, I think will be even better.
Well, this is our weekly rendition of Buy or Hold.
Yeah, exactly. True.
Just on Coleman-Jones, though, if they were to drop Mabia Chol, and then Coleman-Jones takes the second ruck, he might find ways to score points through hit-outs and just playing around the ground a little bit more. So I don't think I'd still rather him than Tilthorpe, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. If he produces another score above like 75 this week, then I think I'll definitely be getting him the week after next.
Would you guys say that picking up Madden is too late?
No, the only worry is job security, which we spoke on earlier on in the week, Dallas.
I don't really see why you would bring him in now. If you weren't convinced on him last week, I don't know why you would be convinced on him this week. I didn't bring him in, and nor did I bring in Waitman either, purely because of the buy that they have. So it was out of him or Chad Warner, and I decided I'd keep Warner because he has the buy in the last week, and I'm really going to struggle in the round 13 buy. So if I can hold on to Warner through the 13 one, which both Waitman and Madden play in, then I can trade out Warner in round 14 for someone like I don't know, a premium forward that will have already played, whether it be Aaron Hall or even someone else. So that was my justification behind it. I don't know if whoever's listening to this feels similar, but I think I'd probably hold. What trades will you boys be doing next week, and who are you thinking about captaining?
I've submitted 2 already, and I traded James Rowe and Jacob Kajitsky, not Justin, for Isaac Heaney and Bianco.
I like that.
So I've put 384,000 in the bank as well.
At the moment, I'm doing Grundy to either Goldstein or Nat Nui, but I may end up doing none.
Yeah.
You, Darcy?
So I've put in the 2 so far this week. James Jordan to Jack Steele, and then I have also gone Sam Berry to Trent Bianco. So I feel like getting Jack Steele in is perfect timing, and Bianco as well, decent for my D6 for this week, but then he will also be switching between defense and midfield with the Harry Sharp being his alternate.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of the Jack Steele trade, and not because you're getting in Jack Steele. I think he's a lock to be a top 8 midfielder. So I think he's a good person to get in. But Jordan scored 85 on the weekend, and he doesn't have his bye this week. So I think I wouldn't be trading Jordan out this week. But maybe, does he have his bye next week? Maybe next week it would be a better
I was a huge advocate for keeping Jordan last week, but he's got a break even in the 90s. I'm not really concerned about his price drop, but this is the only week I really could see a easy upgrade in my midfield. Because next week and the week after, I'd be trying to cover my gaps in the buys. So I didn't really see an easy way to get a midfielder in. And this week there was just an opportunity to do an upgrade. And yeah, I thought I'd take it this week rather than having to try fit it around my upgrades I've got planned for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Fair enough. Who will you be captaining at this stage?
At this stage, I've got Zorko sitting on the captain just so my projector looks nice. But in reality, I'll probably be going one of Gorn or Zorko vice captain into probably Bontempelli.
I'm the exact same. I think I'm going to be going Gorn into Bontempelli at the moment.
I'm going to go Gorn into... Actually, no. I'm going to go Clayton, I think, into either Steele or Bont.
Yeah. I think Gorn into McRae might be another option that I'll look at.
Yeah. No, I think Clayton could go large this week, to be honest. No, well, he has been going large, so if he's on that form, why not go? That's it for this week. Good luck with all you fellas with the buys. I know I think I've fielded 19 or 20 this week, and then the next few weeks are a little bit of a concern, but we'll get to that after this week. So good luck, Zave. If you don't score 2-5, I'll be disappointed. Das,
18 players.
In the buys.
I know, it was a joke.
I'm disappointed doing.
Even with the boys, you know. But Das, I think I play you in one of my rounds this week, so good
Do
luck.
I? Oh, I will look forward to getting some revenge this week.
I'm sure you will. You've been in good form compared to me recently. But that's all for this week. We hope you enjoy. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow all the Instagram accounts in the description, and we'll see you later.